Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Friday, the 6th of November. The weekend is almost here, and I hope you managed to get some sleep last night amongst all the fireworks that were going off for the 5th of November. Over in the sport, though, we've got updates obviously in the cycling from the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, also from the Valletta Espana as well. Also, we'll be giving you an update on the squash, squash news, as well as the Bledisloe Cup teams have been named for the All Blacks and the Wallabies for this weekend. Formula One announced that they're going to have a race in Saudi Arabia as well. So we'll go through all of that news for you this morning on the Morning Sports Briefing, your best place to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. For those of you that do go over to nzsportradio.com and look out for my rugby predictions, that will be going up today. Sorry, it's been a busy week with work and also moving house. This will be the final morning sports briefing from Hamilton. As of tomorrow, we'll be coming to you live from Waihi, or I'm going to be live from Waihi instead. So yes, big day moving today. Let's hope I can get the studio set up in time for the show tomorrow morning. Also looking forward to the weekend, and we're going to be covering lots of rugby action. Stephen Harris will be at Eden Park for Auckland versus Northland. I will be at Albany Stadium for the possibles versus the probables from the Black Ferns, as well as North Harbour versus Counties Manukau. And then on Sunday, I'll be zooming down. I'll be back here in Hamilton for Waikato, and I've gone blank as to who Waikato are playing. I think it's Bay of Plenty, isn't it? Let's quickly check that. Yep, I'll be here for Bay of Plenty. So we'll be at 3 of the Minor 10 Cup games and also at Possible Does Probables. Don't forget to follow the New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page for all our post-match interviews and other coverage of those games. Let's get on into the news then. And as I mentioned, Formula One have announced what is believed to be a 10-year deal to host a race in Saudi Arabia. And the Amnesty International has said that Saudi Arabia is using this for sporting events to sports wash their appalling human rights record there in that one. But Prince Abdul Aziz insists that it will lead to a positive change. Remember that earlier this year, there was the Saudi-backed takeover bid of Newcastle United for £300 million, and that collapsed due to Premier League's failure or failed to approve that because of the human rights record from Saudi Arabia. So, interesting one there from Formula One, but I guess, with races already in Bahrain, Azerbaijan, Russia, Abu Dhabi, and also China, unsurprising, really. Moving on then to the cycling, and in the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, crosswinds really blew the race apart, and that meant that we had a very select group off the front with of 12 riders, with most of the big hitters in there. And our race leader, Ruben Thompson, who had won up the Remarkables yesterday, was put under lots of pressure. Being a climber rather than a rouleur, yes, the crosswinds were not his style of racing, and he put in a big old shift to try and stay in touch, but was unable to. What could have been a fairly easy day, with then a kick at the end, turned into an absolute battle with those crosswinds. And with the kick at the end, we had the 20-year-old world points champion got up there first, and Corbin Strong won the won his second stage of the race. And also with the bonus seconds and the gaps, he managed to put himself into the yellow jersey as well. He is now so he finished just ahead of Aaron Gate and us and Michael Vink, which means that now he leads Michael Vink by just 9 seconds, and James Oram by 15 seconds. Ollie Jones then is Corbin Strong's teammate, is in fourth on 19 seconds, and Aaron Gate, who is James Oram's teammate, is in fifth on 35 seconds. There's a 2-minute gap. Everyone else is 2 minutes or further behind the leader. Ruben Thompson is now 5 minutes back after, struggling on that stage. You've got to say then, with one more stage that's likely to have crosswinds, the Black Spoke Cycling Academy having two riders up there, James Oram and Aaron Gate. You can see a dual 2 points of attack on Corbin Strong's lead. See if they can use that to their advantage. And what another day that is looking like a crosswinds day and is the longest day of the tour. And then tomorrow we have the individual time trial, where also those Vink and Oram will be looking to close that gap on Corbin Strong, as they are narrow gaps up there. So looking like a cracking finish to the Tour of Southland. Aaron says it's cloudy and rainy skies up in Auckland, and yes, it's been wet here in Hamilton as well. I hope it stays dry as I'm moving my stuff in and out of my cars today. So let's just hope the rain holds off enough. Over in the Valletta Espana, rain also impacted this race as well. Heavy rain at the end, plus also oil on the road, meant that the organisers decided to neutralise the last 3 kilometres as far as time was concerned, and took the general classification time at 3 kilometres to go. That meant that all the GC contenders could take it relatively easy in that last 3K, and which meant a very splintered, different finish to the stage. A breakaway had gone away, but with it being the longest day and also into a headwind all day, it was always going to be a big ask for that breakaway to stay away, and it didn't. And then you're going to say Jasper Philipsen managed to get the win in that uphill drag and also into a headwind. So congratulations to him for that one. Looks like a tough old day yesterday at the Valletta Espana, even though perhaps there was no change or looked on the actual leaderboard. So we go into, or there'll be one more stage before they go into Saturday's final mountain top finish, I believe it is, which will be the deciding factor in this race. Rob Ball wants to know if there is any time zone difference with Waihi next week. No, don't worry. We will still be here coming to you at 7 a.m. every single morning with the morning sports briefing. Even though we are moving out east, don't worry that we won't be changing any time zones with that one. Looking at the rugby then, and the All Blacks have named 4 new faces for the Bledisloe Cup this weekend. It really is all change. Looking at the lineup, I think Sam Whitelock, Sam Cane, Bowden Barrett, and Anton Brown are the only. And Jordy Barrett, sorry, so about a third of the team, starting 15, are still there. Otherwise, I say all change. Kiriwani will pull on the number 6 jersey and get his first All Blacks cap. Off the bench, Sua Amua, Cullen Grace, and Will Jordan will all have the opportunities to pick up their first caps as well. So it's all change. Aaron Smith and Moanga, who have been running the show, have both dropped out of the match day 23 entirely. It's also all change for the Wallabies as well. Starting off with James O'Connor and Matt Tamua injured, and Lolaseo has now been dropped to the bench, that means that we will be seeing Reece Hodge starting in the number 10 jersey. Not a regular 10 for his club side, Melbourne Rebels. So it's going to be interesting seeing him do that at international level. He has played 10 for the Wallabies before, but I say not his regular position. Also, Hunter Paisami, who played well in the early Bledisloe, comes back into the side, but he was playing in 13 before. He's now going to move into 12 with Jordan Petaia retaining his jersey outside him. Tom Banks comes back in at fullback, and Tom Wright comes in onto the wing. Dungunu dropping to the bench, and Dane Helen-Petty out of the side entirely. So really going to be interesting to see how this Wallabies side goes. As Robert Bull says in the live chat, it's start of the World Cup build-up, and they're creating experience and strength in the squad for 3 years' time. Yes, also with Dave Rennie being and that applies to the All Blacks and the Wallabies, also with Dave Rennie being a brand new coach to the Wallabies. Obviously, Ian Foster is a new head coach, but he has been involved in the setup previously. But Dave Rennie sort of seeing how some of his other players will react to the test match environment, you've got to say there. Don't forget also that this weekend we have Hawke's Bay versus Wellington in the Gran Furley Shield as well. Do join us at 8 p.m. on Sunday for our rugby review show. We'll go through all the action from the Mitre 10 Cup, the possibles versus probables, and also the Bledisloe Cup, as well as looking in on how Super Rugby has gone over in South Africa. So do join us at 8 p.m. for the Rugby Review Show on Sunday evening. We'll round up all of that action. And obviously, don't forget, I'll be here at 7 a.m. every single morning with the morning sports briefing. Your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news.